Hello and welcome to episode 37 of my Endwalker playthrough. We're not going to stand any ceremony, we're going to get straight to it.
No major injuries then. Good. I briefed the recovered soldiers and sent them on their way as quickly as I could, but nevertheless feared they would not make it in time.
The additional support was invaluable. Your men saved more than a few lives. Though not all, I regret to say.
I take it that I'm addressing Lucia Junius. I'm the Forum's envoy, Fortuneau Leveilleur. And you are owed an explanation for these most dire developments.
Another trial wrought by the final days. I was beginning to suspect as much. You doubtless feel some consternation having been forced to abandon your original plan. But trust me when I say you were right to send the refugees elsewhere. Beasts have been sighted within the capital. Perhaps it was a stroke of grim fortune that the population was decimated beforehand, as they've yet to appear in any great number, but in time. In any case, Maxima leads the remainder of the contingent in an effort to cull the creatures and evacuate the populace as we speak. Once the airships have taken to the skies, I pray your men can be persuaded to join him.
You'll permit us to retain our weapons?
I wouldn't have sent you after the Scions were I expecting you to stab them in the back.
And I, for one, would not consider past transgressions more relevant than future contributions. Regardless of the circumstances that saw us at odds before, we need men of courage now, more than ever.
We swore to defend Garlemald, and so we shall.
It seems you have everything under control. You will excuse me then, for mine own duties await.
A moment, Master Fortuneau. You did desire to express your appreciation for services rendered, did you not?
I did. Though if you intend to again ask that Charlian alter its course, you will find my gratitude insufficient.
'Tis nothing so onerous. I wish to hear the details of this grand endeavor of yours.
Do you swear to listen and to learn, and not to embark upon some scheme to impede us?
We never had any intention of impeding you.
I swear.
Any other, I would doubt. But you, I trust to keep your word. For not once have you broken it. Very well. I will request that the Forum make you privy to our plans. You may await our summons at the Baldessian Annex, assuming the decision is in your favor. Does that suffice?
It does. You have my thanks.
Excellent.
You can regale us with tales of your most recent sojourn to the First while we wait.
Yeah, I didn't actually go to the First for that long.
Did you hear something just now?
It's pudding way. I thought it might have to be after it started spouting pudding. They came through the teleporter, but why?
Dawn may banish even the darkest night, and to this bitter clime bring warmth and comfort. 'Tis heartening to see such an assembly upon my return. I thought often of you whilst I looked down upon our star's brilliance from the moon above.
Yes, but what are you doing here? And dressed like that? Aren't you cold?
You're one to talk.
Verily, I fear for my health should I proceed to expound upon our purpose, ere I procure more suitable garments.
Then allow me to summarize. We're here because none of you lot are up there. Nor has anyone deigned to send word about any changes in the plans. It's rude, is what it is. At least that's what I thought at first, but then folks got to wondering if you weren't in a spot of bother, so we decided to take matters into our own hands. Come down here and help, if our help be needed. So she says, but it's also something of a convenient excuse to visit Etheris. Urianger made it sound absolutely marvelous. More so before the impending doom, but still. And it's not like there will ever be a better time. What with the form?
Marvellous, they say, yet not an ounce of pudding to be found. I must suffer Urianger's inferior works no more.
Hey, maybe consider the plight of present company before you go blathering on about pudding and doom. Ahem. As I was saying, should you require any assistance with whatever, we are at your disposal. We were born from Heidelin's love for the lives of this star, so naturally we would much prefer to see them continue. Twiddling our thumbs up on the moon is hardly conducive to that, though, is it? Aye, not when you've all got such precious thoughts and feelings and hopes for the future deserving of more active preservation. Speaking to Urianger made us realize that while we've carried out our duties to the letter, we've failed to fulfill them in spirit. From there, it was just a hop, skip, and a jump towards resolving to do better. So please, show us how. Help us help you.
Forgive me, but are they...
Your liaisons on the moon.
Thy distant collaborators, indeed.
Hail, fellow, well met. You'd be a member of the Forum, would you? It's an honor and a pleasure to meet you at last. I'm Livingway, Hydaelyn's right paw! That last bit is very important. As am I, if I may humbly say so myself.
I'm sorry, but I think you misunderstand what the word humble means.
I bid you welcome to our star, Livingway. On behalf of the Forum, I thank you for traveling such a distance to meet us. As you have surmised, preparations for the Exodus have not proceeded as smoothly as we had hoped. I should be happy to personally escort you to our headquarters in Sharlayan, where you may advise us as you deem fit.
'Twas with reluctance that I set aside the great work of readying the moon for habitation. Be assured that I did so only after the Loperites made plain their earnest desire to come hither, and I myself felt a growing certainty that their contributions here would prove invaluable.
I mean, if anyone can build a
'Tis
spaceship.
trite, perhaps, but I followed my heart.
Good to have you back. May thy disciples banish the darkness of night. This night. Good to have you back. Good to have you back.
For a time, at least. Nevertheless, 'twas worth the journey to find present company well. Will thou attend us at the Forum and lend thine own wisdom?
It is probably a good idea. The Forum here.
If that's all quite settled, can we start moving before Urianger catches his death? Even I'm freezing out here.
Oh, I dare say you'll warm up quickly once you're aboard the airship. Sat shoulder to shoulder with our fur-covered friends.
They have a knack of including, I see you over there. They have a knack of including comic relief at perfectly timed moments. I dare say Master Fortuno was not unpuzzled as we were to learn the identity of Hydaelyn's lunar custodians. As he will soon discover, they have much more to offer the Forum. Might I suggest we return to the Annex forthwith? We may yet have time to discuss thy recent adventure. We are summoned to the Rosier. To the roster? Rosier? This'll take a little second, I'll be right there. We have arrived. Not that I'm complaining, Urianger, but I wasn't expecting to see you quite so soon. Nor I thee. In extolling the virtues of Theris, I did inadvertently awaken the Loperites a desire to avert our beloved star's demise. Kryl tells us that you've obtained new knowledge that may aid us in our ongoing efforts. I've news to share regarding our story of the Ethereal Sea, but your findings are certainly to be of greater interest, so I would rather hear them first. What revelations did Hydaelyn's Elpis flower lead? Then this dynamis is what drives the final days. If it is, and Akashar are one and the same, this all but proves Nidana's theory. Were an entity, through sheer force of emotions, to channel the vast, dormant reservoirs into a raging river, the power might surpass even that of Aether. But if our star is so replete with Aether, said entities would need to be outside of its influence to effectively manipulate the dynamis of the great expanse. Meteion. Or rather, the sorrow and suffering of fallen civilizations that she's been hoarding for millennia. Untold anguish and fear and hatred drawn from every corner of the universe for a single purpose, the destruction of Aetheris. Then our foe is no longer some unknowable calamity. We have but one aim: defeat Meteion. You make it sound so simple, but you're not wrong. Vanquish Meteion, and we deliver the world from the final days. But to even attempt it, there are two conditions. First, we must determine her location. Before Meteion escaped, an enchantment was placed on her by Vanat, the woman who would become Hydaelyn. The implications of temporal magics are not entirely understood, and so we cannot assume that our Hydaelyn and the Vanat you met in Elpis are one and the same. Nevertheless, due to her intrinsic qualities as an all-powerful being, I would wager that Hydaelyn possesses the knowledge we seek. Whether she would share that knowledge with us, however, remains to be seen. She basically says she would once certain conditions were met, which we are probably very, very close to meeting, if we haven't already. After all, she intends us to flee Aetheris, not to stay. Do you suppose she has abandoned her pursuit of Meteion? The Vanat I know would never give up. Yeah, we'll go with that. This is my impression, too. Otherwise, she wouldn't have made use of me as a conduit for her will, or provide clues such as the Elpis flower. I believe she has been waiting for mankind's answer to Hermes' question. So, what's the second condition? We must find a means to reach Meteion. Naturally, our chosen method will depend entirely upon wheresoever she has made her nest. Then communion with Hydaelyn must be necessary then communicating with Hydaelyn must by necessity come first. Did you and Master Matoya have any luck with our investigation into the Ethereal Sea? Your investigation? Sadly not, though we enlisted the help of Arenvold and other Echo-blessed allies. We could not detect so much of a whisper from Hydaelyn, even from within the Antitower. Master Matoya is of the opinion that in the years since abandoning it, the Forum has found some other method of receiving instructions from Hydaelyn. If so, it would most likely be some form of apparatus for observing the Ethereal Sea, built closer to home. Speaking of the Forum? Sorry to interrupt, we just received word from the Forum. Your presence is requested in the Roster, where they intend to discuss the Great Exodus. Then Father was able to persuade them. They're finally taking us seriously. Let's hear what they have to say. Let's go around. 'Twas Hydaelyn's commandment that in the event a Zodiac should perish, the Loprits were to deliver the people of Aetheris from harm. Though there be the limit of their duties, they possess knowledge unparalleled of the great expanse and the means of its traversal. Should they be persuaded to assist in our effort to reach Meteon, we would do well to heed their counsel. At first I wasn't sure what to make of Hermes and his motives, but it's like we discussed at the Great Work. When faced with the harsh realities of life, some seek the release of death, others grow defiant, they fight. Either way, it is our right to choose. Well, that was a much quicker response than I was expecting. Nice to know our efforts on the Magna Glacier didn't go unnoticed. Father has granted us the opportunity we've been waiting for. Though we know not what information, if any, they intend to reveal, there is only one way to find out. To the Vostere. I hope you don't mind me staying behind while you attend your big meeting. The Vostere reminds me a bit too much of the supremely scary tribunal in Ishgard. You'll forgive me if I keep my distance. After you left for Garlemald, I went to Labyrinthos to try and reach Hydaelyn using the Elpis flowers. Alas, my attempts were in vain. I can only assume that she spent the vast amount of her powers in the confrontation with Fandaniel, and is presently unable to communicate. Indeed, as her presence left my body, I could feel how faint it had grown. Master Matoya has suspected for some time that the Forum has been constructing a new facility for the purpose of surveying the ethereal sea. Of course, as the custodian of the Anti-Tower, as custodian of the Anti-Tower, which would presumably be rendered obsolete as a result, she has a few things to say about that. Nothing that should be repeated in polite company, you understand. After sending Graha and Estinian back to Garlemald, I stayed in Lox Animus for a time. Being an imperial province, it was already in turmoil before the onset of the final days. You wouldn't believe the difficulties we had overseeing the evacuation of the villages we visited. I have faith the detachments we left behind will continue our work and shepherd the people to safety. To what safety can be found in a world coming to an end. To think the Crystal Tower of the First was capable of such feats as sending one's soul into the distant past. The events you witnessed and helped shape may yet hold the key to forestalling the final days. I am reminded of a dear friend in the future I had unmade, whose selfless efforts saw the 8th Unbull calamity averted. In this timeline, at least, too much has been sacrificed for us to abandon the Theorist now. To the Forum, then. The Forum is in session, and as such, the Rosae is closed to visitors. A sign of the 7th dawn. Very well, you may wait in the corridor. Of course, entry will only be permitted on the condition you leave your armaments at the door. Lest you forget, this is a sacred institute, holds rational discourse in the highest. The implements of war are expressly forbidden. Is that why we have to take our hoods off? I thought they said the Forum was in session. This is the Forum and I see no one here.
There is a matter I wish to raise with you before we enter. We are here to listen and to learn. But if the Forum's plans are more or less what I expect, then I should like to make a proposal that will serve our ends. By your leave, of course.
I don't see why not. Your words and wits have gotten us this far.
Agreed. I will present our queries so that you may consider the most advantageous way to advance your proposal without distraction.
Thank you, everyone.
If I may have your attention, the ad hoc session will now commence. The purpose of today's assembly is to brief the Scions of the Seventh Dawn at their request on the Great Exodus. You may enter. On behalf of the Forum, I commend your heroic actions on the Magna Glaciers. We shall not soon forget your service to us and the people of Radzadhan. The Satrap, whom we have informed of the refugees' new arrangements, sings your praises as well. As an expression of our gratitude, we will endeavor to answer your questions as fully and openly as we are able.
Then let us begin. First, it is the Forum's objective to ferry the life and knowledge of this star to the moon. Am I correct?
You are. It is for this purpose that Sharlayan has labored these many long years. We have collected biological samples and scientific records from across the star. When the time comes, they will be moved from their places in Labyrinthos and Numenon and conveyed to safety. Once that critical task has been accomplished, we will begin transporting the Sharlayan citizenry, which has been categorized into groups. The earliest arrivals are to ensure hospitable environs for those who come after. Following our people, we will send those of other nations in turn, beginning with our allies. Radzadhan was foremost among these, but since the final days have already come to Thavnair, we saw fit to include the refugees with earlier groupings.
An ambitious plan. You have accounted for the safety of all nations and tribes, then?
As many as we can.
And how, pray tell, do you decide who to leave behind?
To journey beyond the sky is an unprecedented and immeasurably difficult endeavor. Introducing sources of inevitable conflict would condemn all to certain death.
Questions as to the validity of that approach aside, are your plans proceeding apace? We're under the impression that your primary means of celestial transportation is incomplete.
Order.
If only in that it does not meet our optimal parameters, that is correct. This Ark, as some have taken to calling it, is fully operational and could be launched even today. However, the final days have progressed more quickly than we anticipated. At present, the ship is incapable of attaining speeds sufficient to meet our evacuation targets. Should we put the vessel into service, as it is now, we will be unable to travel to the moon and back quickly enough to complete the necessary number of trips. Precious lives and knowledge will be lost.
Seven hells. Is there anything to be done?
The lot pits can help.
The ether burner, the primary means of propulsion once the craft is in the space between stars, is undergoing testing to determine whether it can be made more efficient. Though cargo is being loaded for the initial phase of the Exodus, we are prepared to continue our experimentation up to the day before launch, should it prove necessary.
What if the Scions were to solve your problem? We shall help devise a means to improve the ether burner's efficiency, on 2 conditions. If we succeed, you must allow us to meet with Hydaelyn.
'Twas simple enough to deduce. You have a Concord, and so you would never have abandoned the anti-tower had you no other means of communication. One far more convenient, I suspect.
The second condition, also to be met upon our success, is that we be permitted to propose another use for your Ark.
Propose, not use.
We would be at liberty to refuse this proposal.
Of course. If we cannot prove its merit to the 99 here, who are we to stake on it the lives of all peoples of this star?
Delightful as always, Master Alfino. Oh, we couldn't have asked for a finer plan. Allow us to solve this complex engineering problem of which we were entirely unaware until moments ago. What could possibly go wrong? The satire writes itself. Yet, what field has not benefited from a change in perspective? When we are at wit's end, what we need is not the same dry theories recited ad nauseam, but fresh inspiration. I, for one, have faith in my erstwhile students to provide it, and I find their terms to be perfectly acceptable.
Order! Order! We have no time to waste on debate. I call a vote. All in favor of agreeing to the Scion's terms?
That's a fair few more than half.
"71 in favor, 28 against. The ayes have it. Fortuneau, as the architect of this project, you are the best candidate to show them its current state. And bear in mind that regardless of your personal misgivings, this is the will of the Forum.
Very well.
Call this session to a close. Return to your tasks with urgency. The final days wait for none.
Interesting. My affinity for espionage may have earned me the title of Archon, but I was completely unaware of the Forum's plans. There may have been clues here and there, had I been of a mind to look for them, but contemplating that possibility only serves to further wound my pride. Not that anyone could have realistically surmised that their brilliant stratagem would be to build a giant ship, fly to the moon, a still larger vessel in truth, and use that to travel to another star. Even now, the whole idea seems positively absurd when spoken out loud. Of late, I have seen no sign of the Loporits. This being the first opportunity to experience the wonders of Sharlayan, the potential for misadventure is nigh infinite. Perhaps if Midgard-Suma was still alive, in the traditional sense, that is, he could have offered to help the vessel attain the necessary speeds. Then again, there's no guarantee his contribution would make enough of a difference to matter. The further we pursue the mysteries of the universe, the more I struggle to comprehend the fortuitous nature of time itself. We measure and quantify it based on observations of celestial bodies, such as the sun and the moon, but from your account it is unclear whether the ancients viewed time in a similar manner. I mention this because while Vanar knew the final days would reoccur at a defined point in the future, she presumably had no way of knowing exactly when. Even so, the completion of the Forum's preparations to escape to the moon, aligning so closely with the advent of the final days, is surely no coincidence. I'm a little vexed that we've yet to learn the Forum's replacement for the Anti-Tower, though I expect that in time they'll share that too with us. And Master Matoya, if they've any sense. Phew, I admit it, bringing up the issue of the Forum's incomplete arc was more than a little daunting. They were, to their credit, quite open with the current state of affairs. And what was even more surprising, though, was when they took Alphino up on his offer. While I very much take issue with the Forum's approach to selecting who to save and when, they are not wrong for wanting to minimize potential conflicts. Fortunately, if this plan of ours actually works, the Great Exodus itself will become entirely unnecessary. Rest assured, I have every intention of honouring the Forum's decision. Sorry about not letting the rest of you in on my plan. I was, admittedly, thinking on my feet for the most part. But since we both require a means of communicating with Hydaelyn and reaching Metreon, in the spur of the moment, I saw involving ourselves with the completion of the Ark as a way to work towards both objectives simultaneously. However, we must first keep our end of the bargain by solving the problem of the ether burner. I'd like to think that it's not a challenge beyond our combined expertise, or at least the expertise of our extended circle of associates. It might behoove us to learn how the ether burner actually works before we attempt to improve it, though. So we're going to be contacting Sid, and probably, if he is not a part of this, then he is going to be very, very grumpy. Nero. Let's go for one more quest, even if it takes us over an hour. Fortuno's ability to maintain a stiff upper lip is being sorely tested. As instructed, I shall take you to see the Aether Burner. Meet me outside the Arcanum. I trust you can make your own way there. So the Ark is being built in Labyrinthos. Hardly surprising. Where else could they conceal such a massive undertaking? This will likely take me a little bit of a trip. Oh no, we're going straight to there. No, we'll be right there. We don't need to do a cut or anything. I'll just have a sip of tea while we load. And we've loaded. God, so many people to talk to again. This may have been a mistake. I don't understand the appeal of reshaping it to look like the world above. Make your peace with that, what it is. or go outside if that's what you prefer. Among the many and varied documents sent to the moon, I did chance upon several inventories made in the Archeum. Mayhap the Forum believed such records would provide insight to the intrinsic or the intrinsicy of the clerical intricacies of the clerical duties. Regardless, the Loprits did not consider them worthy of any more than a cursory glance. That is why that we have been granted permission to enter the lower levels is proof of our increased standing. Would that they had been willing to confide in us sooner. It's been many moons since I last visited Labyrinthos. As vast as the archives were back then, they've only continued to grow in the days since. Yeah, that's what I thought. So my headset was like 8% too loud. Some would surely object to the Forum allowing foreign elements to have a run of their secret facilities. We should count ourselves lucky. No, we did talk to Urianger. Well, once we were refused entry, now we are welcomed as guests. It seems so long as we first set foot here. Do they intend to carry everything in the Arcanon to the moon? They said they'd be started loading scientific records and biological samples. But do they really need all of it? Let me just quickly confirm. 3 quests, 6 aetherites. Hi, Rin. Welcome back, Rin. Stay a while longer, please. Our destination lies in the lower levels. The Forum, in its wisdom, has granted you access to the Archeon's lifts. Step inside and have the Orphilian take you to the menial circuit. You wish to use the lift? Yes? Yes, please? And then we're heading over to the right, I imagine, to go down further. I imagine everyone else has gone ahead. I have sent your associates ahead to Logiscon Alpha, on the other side of Mirian Agronomics. Actually, there's been something I've been meaning to... No, never mind. It can wait. Let us attend to the matter at hand. He wants to talk to us about his children, doesn't he? Where are we heading? Oh, we're actually going to the left to get down. I thought we'd be heading over here. No, we're heading over there. We'll see you there in a bit. We're here. Well, this looks very Charlian, at least. Here they are. Let's have words with everyone, because we must. I wonder what this place is actually for. The further underground we go, the more surprises we find. The fields we passed along the way brought back memories of Ferndale. Unfortunately, we were never blessed with such an abundant crop. We must be close to the central circuit, which is where Charlian's greatest secrets are held, if the tome I pursued was told the whole story. On our journey here, I was filled with the inexplicable sense of elation to see vegetables other than carrots being cultivated. Why, it nearly brought a tear to mine eye. Knowing the Forum, even the people working down here are probably kept in the dark about the true purpose of this place. Oh, there you are. having words with Master Fortuno by any chance? We are to wait here while our father arranges for us to get use the next lift. Here being Logisticon Alpha, where the atmospheric conditioning of labyrinthos are regulated. Water is drawn from underground and dispersed as vapours, stimulating the formation of artificial clouds and rain. By manipulating the temperature and air circulation, they are able to create the ideal environment for growth and preservations of the biological samples kept here. Hold on, how do you know so much about it? My father brought me here as a child. What? And left me behind? Actually, you were the one who left me behind. You went off somewhere with grandfather. The night before, you'd been asking father how clouds are made, so he decided to show me. It was fascinating. I peppered him with questions the entire time. It is all too easy to take for granted that which many interweave in aspects of nature or the natural world, to grow inured of its wonders. That's the wrong word. It's not even a word. But having gained an understanding of the complex mechanism employed by the Loporits in recreating similar environment, I have come to view such processes in a new light. The subterranean gardens in Labyrinthos, the lunar prison forged to contain the ancient Zodiac, the habitations built for all mankind neath the moon's surface, each unique, yet undeniably similar. It is no mere coincidence. Ever since Hydaelyn unfolded to us the grim fate that await Aetheris, every essential resource we could spare has been delivered to Labyrinthos in preparation for the Great Exodus. But that is not all. It is also a testing ground for technologies that will allow us to settle on a distant star. Though the Loporits have endeavoured to make the moon habitable, that is not our final destination. Mankind must learn to progenitor life where there is none, to thrive where all is barren. Alas, time is not on our side. I have arranged for you all to enter the central circuit. It is there that most of our preparations for the Great Exodus are carried out, the construction of the Ark among them. Though our plans have been made public, access remains highly restricted. You, however, will not be subject to said restrictions. You will have free rein to come and go as you please. As such, was the will of the Forum, after all. We will prove ourselves worthy of their trust. Your trust. Then let us proceed. It's clear he wants to say something. But he is keeping his peace. By decree of the Forum, the Scions of the Seventh Door are permitted to enter the central circuit. I have no idea what makes Alphino so confident we can solve this problem of theirs. Relentless optimism, I presume. A not unwelcoming trait in youth, but I am less so in a gambler. Aye, let us resolve never to let him set foot in the Golden Saucer. The temperate environment here is not unlike that of the Bestway Burrow, though its diverse vegetation doth produce a far more complex bouquet of aromas. A welcome difference indeed, for I have grown wary of the scent of carrots. The further down we travel, the more expensive, the more expansive the sky above becomes, artificial though it is. What in the heavens else could be so idyllic? I imagine the secrets kept here would be of great benefit to mine own research, but I will refrain from indulging my curiosity for the time being. Please tell me we're almost there. Or is there another underground layer we have to reach? An even more central circuit, perhaps? The sooner we can get a look at the Aether burner, this Aether burner of theirs, the sooner we can start working out how to improve it. We might finally have the chance to commune directly with Hydaelyn, provided we somehow manage to succeed where Sharlayan's finest engineers have failed. Still, it wouldn't hurt to have a look. I guarantee, Sid and Nero are going to be involved. This is it, the central circuit. The Aether burner is being constructed not far from here. Overseeing the work is Kolko Dankol, after whom the forge is named. Once the necessary introductions have been made, I shall leave you with him to discuss the particulars. This way. We need to be on our lookout for Aether cones now. Oh, there may actually be another part over here, although given this bit here, this is actually the map boundary, I'm guessing there isn't actually anything over here. Which way? Northwest. Oops. That is not the direction we are heading, though. But we will head that way eventually, so let's see what's southwest instead. Before I begin, let me wet my whistle. Yes, Nathan, talking into your mug is really going to help your microphone pick up your voice. Is that a... yeah, a Lalafell. Hidden among the bodies. This is the man we seek. Try not to startle him. While many of the facilities within the central circuit appear to, or seem to be visible from the upper levels, the most secretive work must be carried out behind closed doors. I was expecting the Sky Steel manufactory, but instead I find the village smithy. Surely the Forum have already petitioned the aid of the Loprits, given their familiarity with such technologies. I mean, you would think. That doesn't mean they have. He hasn't even realised we're here, or perhaps he has realised, but just doesn't care. For a closely guarded secret, you can see practically everything from outside, even with the magical barriers surrounding it. Perhaps you'd like a break, or perhaps you would like to break the ice. Is he talking to himself? He looks lost in thought. Now, I think if he had hit something, as though he hit something of a stumbling block. There we go. Words. They're hard.
I could swap them out. No. Been there, done that. Damn near lost my eyebrows.
I like him already.
Think, Coco, think! We'd be well on our way to paradise. Visionaries patting themselves on the backs for their grand accomplishments if you'd only think!
Yes, that does sound rather lovely.
Yeah! I mean, masterful, you know, what a pleasant surprise. We're not blasting off already, are we?
The schedule remains unchanged, for better or worse. which is why the Forum has elected to accept assistance in resolving the ether burner conundrum.
Not seen you lot down here before.
There are Archons among their number, but engineering is not their expertise. Nevertheless, the Forum concedes the slim possibility that they may have insights to offer. If not, you are at liberty to return them to the surface, by whatever means you see fit.
I assure you that won't be necessary. Now, about your troubles with the ether burner.
Aye, I'll walk you through it. Suppose I could do with a change of pace. As the name ought to tell you, the ether burner burns ether, ambient or otherwise, and transforms it into motive force. Think of it like a giant bomb that never stops exploding.
Quite literally, a rocket. Because that is what a rocket is. It is a controlled explosion.
Even out in that black void where the ether's right sparse, it's strong enough to move our arc. And it probably won't kill you like an actual bomb. But it ain't perfect. According to my calculations, to travel to the moon and back fast enough for the Forum's liking, the conversion rate needs to be 6% more efficient.
Just 6?
A measly 6%, you say? But if I could have squeezed even another 0.6 out of it, don't you think I'd have built it that way in the first place?
I understand your pain.
Hast thou consulted with the Loperids?
Yes, they too are conducting their own research, for lack of a ready answer. The moon's propulsion systems are considerable, naturally, yet they are commensurately massive. It is no easy feat to convert their technology into an efficient means of propulsion for a teeny tiny toy boat, as they say, and as I most certainly do not.
Yes, exactly! Damn it all, I asked for refined adamantite and they send me uppity rabbits with inscrutable, ancient, incompatible technology! You're trying to drive me mad!
Do you speak of Allegan refined adamantite, perchance?
You know of it?
Only in the most general terms, I'm afraid. 'Twas an alloy of Allegan make, but the secrets of its production were closely guarded. As I recall, the record stated it was vital to Dalamud's construction and launch.
Aye, that's the stuff. No material more conductive far as I know. Slotting some ends like blowing up a dam and watching the river of ether come rushing through. Ain't a living soul that knows how to make it though. We were fortunate enough to salvage some for the ether burner, just a wee bit, mind, from a chunk of Dalamud that came hurtling into the northern empty during the calamity. With more, well, that extra 6% efficiency would be child's play. It's a crying shame that we've no other sources.
Surely the many shards of Dalamud scattered throughout Eorzea would suffice. Why not get the refined adamantite from them?
Oh, we tried, believe you me. But only a few specialised pieces would have had any in them to begin with. Drive cores from Ragnarok-class internment hulks. Those are the prize bits we really need. According to the Gleaners, getting to them means delving deep into the shards. And the defences are still very operational and very eager to blow them up. It's rough going in there, even for the cream. Not sure they'd make it out alive.
Weren't we near that part of the Ragnarok when we went to destroy Bahamut?
You want me to go and fetch the Watsits? The White Raven's ghosts. It haunts me. This sounds like a job for somebody else. You want me to go fetch the what's it?
That may be for the best, though you doubtless find the task too dull for your liking.
There are multiple internment hulks in Eorzea alone, so handling this ourselves may not be the most efficient option. Rather, if we could salvage adamantite from the shards simultaneously... Thancred, is the link shell we established before you went to Garlemald still active?
Of course. The floor is yours.
What's all this? Gathering firewood, so to speak. We alone can accomplish little, but joined by others, we may yet build a bonfire to carry us heavensward. This is Alphino. The Scions have need of you.
Understood. I will contact the Lord Commander and dispatch our finest at once.
My sisters are somewhat preoccupied with the final days, so I will lead the 12-Wood expedition myself.
A Runasena, I believe that's the one from the Conjurers Guild specifically. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, and this could be everyone in the Ishgardian contingency.
Are you aware of any other sources of refined adamantite?
As is La?
Logically, such an invaluable alloy would have been utilized solely where absolutely necessary, in components intended to conduct or collect surpassing amounts of ether.
Crystal Tower.
Any extant instrumentation or devices would have likely found their way into the hands of etherologists, or enthusiasts.
Magical artifacts of Allagan design? The Eastern Alliance will send word to one and all. Are there other ways we may offer aid? No shards of the Lesser Moon scar our soil, but our stake in this cause is no less for it.
Is there anything in Othard that might be of use to you?
What did you say? Oh, you got friends in far places, lad. Anyway, if you're offering, I wouldn't say no to one of those Far Eastern sacred relics. Some of them can hold enough ether to summon a whole damn primal. Combine a source like that, the ether burner, and 3, 2, 1, kaboom!
I gather you heard his explosive enthusiasm. Might you secure us a suitable relic?
It shall be done. I know little of machines, but I promise we will do our utmost to gather the materials you need to finish your starship. I am glad for the work, in truth. Better to busy oneself than wait and fret over disasters foretold.
Then why are we all still standing about yapping? There's plunder for the taking, and I'm a born plunderer. I'll be an old Charlian before you know it. Start mixing the grog.
I'm certain that can be arranged. Thank you all, and do be careful.
Just like that.
Aye, just like that. Our refined adamantite is on its way. Now let us consider our next steps, shall we? There's yet much to be done.
I'm confident that even the deadliest of Allagan defense mechanisms are no match for our allies. At this rate, some of them might soon have as many accomplishments to their names as certain warriors of light. Considering how much of a fuss he made at the time, I don't see why he takes every opportunity to bring it up. It was just firewood. What serendipitous irony that the remnants of the seventh umbral calamity would be the key to mankind's salvation. Never more certain I have been to see Master Louis Soir watch us over us from the ethereal sea. Time and time again, it seems the Allagans, something or other, is either the cause or the solution to our problems. To think the selfsame materials that once launched Dalamud will now be used to help ferry mankind to the moon. There's a poetry in that. First the Tolothroi, and now the final days. No one can accuse the Ilsabard contingency of backing down from a challenge. Of course, they weren't all so committed to the cause when we first set out. But after seeing the example you set, Alphino and the others, the change was palpable, and they couldn't help but believe. There are no oaths or contracts binding the members of the Ilsabard contingent. In many ways, it is even more loosely organized than the Crystal Braves. Nevertheless, I knew no one would refuse the call to arms. Truly, we have been blessed with trustworthy and dependable allies. Though Bahamut is long gone, the internment hulks are far from safe. It could be much worse, of course. They won't have to fight their way past Mericidian dragons, nor are there any danger the Elder Primal might be summoned again. Even so, I dare say there are still a fair few Allagan creations and contraptions remaining to bar our friend's way. I hope that grandfather watches over them. Appreciate you doing all this, but I ain't getting me hopes up just yet. It's times like these we're reminded how famous or infamous Alphino has become. Who'd have thought that he could achieve so much with a single link pearl conversation? As we're expecting a rather lot of visitors in the near future, it'd be best to return to the service and inform the relevant parties. I've also had contact of my own a contact of my own that might be worth trying. Oh, and who might that be? That's for me to know and you to find out. Sid and Nero. And on that note, I'll leave matters in your capable hands. Best of luck. Meanwhile, in Udar,
our course of action is clear. We must harvest refined adamantite from the shards of Dalamud and procure arcane relics of Allagan make. Summon the best and brightest of our immortal flames, and form an expeditionary party at once. Call upon the Sultan Sworn and Brass Blades for support as you must. Papashan, send word to the guilds. We will require the expertise of master artisans if we are to have any hope of identifying and recovering these elusive materials. Viergeist, we have need of your stone torches. They are to assist the immortal flames in scouring the ruins and to help secure the surrounding areas. I trust I can count on your support.
As commander of the Stone Torches, my son Zimberg will personally see it done.
have you lead the raiding party. Assemble your finest, and with Tizona's blade, clear the way. Lord Lolorito, I pray you take charge of the search for Allagan relics. Surely you know of some being traded on open or clandestine markets, or sleeping in collectors' vaults. Of course, I ask not that you do this out of the kindness of your heart. By all means, profit on the transactions. I wish you the joy of it. The final days descend upon our world. If circumstances are truly as dire as they say, Uldar's best efforts may be for naught. And yet, when we Eorzeans rose from the ashes to rebuild our broken realm, did we not learn one simple truth? That which seems all but impossible to overcome alone may yet be possible if we stand together. It was the Scions who united us then, and it is the Scions who call upon us now. Uldar will answer that call. We will summon our courage and join the fight for our world's future. You know your duties. I, Nanamo Ulnamo, 17th in the line of Ul, bid you good luck and Godspeed.
She has learned how to talk to the monitorists. Meanwhile, in the Black Shroud.
We fielded a goodly number, but our ranks are heavy with healers, and an abundance of restorative magics will be of little help in destroying Dalamud's defenses. Still, it has ever been thus with Gridania. We must steel ourselves for a protracted engagement.
You could ask the Ixal for help. Or Alamigo could come to your aid.
In that case, might I suggest taking us along?
Commander Hext, what are you doing here?
None of the shards in Girabania are big enough to hold an internment hulk. So we said to ourselves, why not lend our neighbors a hand? We thought you might be short on people with a talent for breaking things.
While it pains me to admit it, you are right. Our deficiencies so plain to see.
It might have been a lifetime ago, but I was once one of the Scions assigned to the Shroud. I know this forest well. I know your people. And I know we will be stronger if we fight this fight together.
Then I will impose upon you with a clear conscience. Come. Let us speak of how to integrate our forces.
I won't let it all be for nothing. I promise you, Papalimo.
Meanwhile, in Corthus, sorry.
There you are. We've no time to waste, brother. Everyone has already...
roar! A dragon's roar!
Meanwhile, in the Ruby Sea,
And so, in summation, the Eastern Alliance, as well as the Honourable Lord Lolorito himself, reached out to me for assistance in procuring these treasures of the divine, and I, in turn, do beseech the Confederacy for aid.
Hi, Sorban.
Is that...
Hancock? What a surprise this is. And a fortuitous one at that. I have a favor to ask, you see.
I recognize that snake. I forget her name, though. Alrighty then. We shall call it there for an episode. We're a fair bit over. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Everyone is coming together. This is the answer we will present Hydaelyn. I'm sure of it. So hopefully, I will see you next time. Cheerio.